You're listening to Crashes, Claims, and Clarity, hosted by Daryl Burrow, a Georgia-based personal injury attorney with over 30 years of experience and founder of Burrow and Associates. With a background in both legal strategy and compassionate client care, Daryl has helped over 10,000 individuals and families navigate life after injury. Guided by his Christian faith and a deep sense of justice, he brings expert insight, personal stories, and powerful interviews to every episode. If you're looking for truth, support, and clarity in the aftermath of an accident, this is your place. This is Crashes, Claims, and Clarity.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Crashes, Claims, and Clarity. I am your host, Daryl Burrow. I am an attorney here in Georgia, practicing throughout the state. My firm is Burrow and Associates. We are headquartered here in Duluth, Georgia, which is in Gwinnett County in northern part of Georgia. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Freddie Collins. And Freddie also goes by Mills Runs Miles. And Freddie, the first thing I want to do is ask you, where did that come from?
Well, thank you first off, Daryl, for having me on the podcast. I do truly appreciate it. It is, just an honor to be here. But to answer your question, I don't have a middle name. So, I never really had a nickname to go by there. And a funny story, I have two older brothers that have either the same name as me or a similar name, and we all have names after our dad and grandfather. We all have the same name. And so at one point in my life, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try to change my name. And then I was like, okay, so if I was to make a change, what would I change my name to? And I gave myself some kind of random, well, it's not random, a middle name. And the middle name was Emiliano, which is a portmanteau, a combination of my two daughters, Emmeline and Eliana, and kind of combine those names together, kind of similar from there. And then, I was like, well, most people may have a difficult time saying that, so why don't I just come up with some kind of nickname? And that's where Mills comes from. And so, and me being a musician, a music teacher and stuff like that, we always like coming up with like monikers and things like that. So the name Mills Forte is what I came up with. So when I start branching back out with music and things like that, I would be known as that. But I haven't really gotten off the ground with that as much. I actually started getting into running a lot more. And that's where Mills Runs Miles came from. Like I needed something catchy on Instagram that someone else wasn't using. And that's where Mills Runs Miles comes into play.
Oh, that is so cool. That's a neat story.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Freddie, it sounds like you're involved in quite a lot, and that's fantastic. Tell me what you do as far as income is concerned. What do you do?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a jack of all trades, but I am doing I'm wearing many different hats here. So my 9 to 5, my day job would be me. I'm an elementary music teacher. So I teach K-5 here in Gwinnett County, and I love what I do. I'm at an amazing school. I definitely enjoy the opportunity I get to be able to teach these kids and just give them something new and, unlock something that they might never really thought of music-wise, and kind of fuse the things that they like with the things that I like. So, I can lead the next generation musically.
What school are you, Freddie?
Well, I don't know if I'm able to say that because of the district and everything like that, but I'll just say that I am in Gwinnett County School District.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, in addition to that, I would say that another thing that I do is I own a baked goods business called Harper Rose Sweet Shop, and the Harper Rose are the middle names of my two daughters. And so baked goods wise, we do cookies, we do brownies and stuff like that. We try to, not just the plain old chocolate chip and stuff like that. Obviously, you can't go wrong with that. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we give them some nice, cool, different flavors as well. We also make our own candy bars. We do cake pops. We do a lot of different things and stuff. And so we are just starting to get things off the ground again. When I started teaching again, I took a step back from that. But now that I'm starting to, gain my bearings and everything like that, I'm trying to branch back out and do things with baked goods as well. I also teach private music lessons. I am the founder of the Forte Music Academy. I do private lessons. I go into homes and, teach piano. I teach voice. I teach guitar, ukulele, different things there as well. And then the last thing that I do, and this one is, it's not necessarily something I'm doing for income right now. I'm working on it, but I founded the We Run Gwinnett Race Series, and that is a series of 6 races here in Gwinnett, different parks and stuff, with the goal of building the running community up, giving people an opportunity to be a part of a, unique community as we are running, growing it, being competitive along the way. As this series, you earn points every time you run a race, and the more points you have at the end of the year puts you in position to win a championship. And it's been a lot of fun. We've done 3 races so far, and we got 3 more before the end of the year, and it's growing each race, and we're just looking forward to seeing how it takes off.
That's fantastic. When do you sleep?
No, I don't. So I most definitely do not sleep, and I'm going to try to work on that for sure.
Well, let me ask you this. When did you get and how did you get involved in music?
That's a great question. Music is something that my family does on my dad's side of the family. It's something that I've always just had within me. He was a part of groups when he was younger. Nothing like out there like you would know it or anything, but just, music is just something that's been in his blood, and it passed on to his kids. And, just somewhere along the line, I just got bit by the music bug, and it kind of just took off from there. I started singing and I couldn't stop. And then, just try to do some things. Now, personally, myself, I'm still trying to branch out and do my own things. I have done some stuff, but nothing to where, it's gotten any kind of recognition. I've kind of pulled some of my stuff off the shelf so that I could kind of fine tune it before I put it back out there. But I would say that I've been doing something to some capacity music wise since I was probably 13 years old. So the last, I would say 25, 27 years I've been doing music stuff.
Okay. And do you perform by yourself? Do you have bandmates? Do you have a band that actually gets together? And where do y'all perform if you're doing any performances?
Gotcha. As of right now, I don't have anyone that I'm performing with. I do have a partner that we are going to start putting some things together soon. Life has just been, life, and as we say at this point or whatever. So I've just had to transition, and so in the process of the transition, I've kind of taken a pause on, getting stuff done musically, but that is going to be changing soon. So the goal, hopefully, is to start putting some material out within the next couple of months. Me and my partner, who I'm doing some stuff with musically, once we start booking some gigs and stuff, we'll start posting that as well. But I'm excited. She's very talented, and I'm very happy to be working with her. And I know there's some amazing stuff. Not saying it from a conceited standpoint. It's just a matter of she is very musically talented, and just to be a part of a project with her, it's just going to make my stuff sound even better. So that should be coming out, hopefully, if not at the end of this year, the beginning of next year.
Well, it's going to happen, Freddie, because look at all the things you've accomplished and your attitude. It's positive, it's contagious. And so I think everybody that would meet you, this positivity, it tells them that you're going to be successful in whatever you attempt to do.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me this, do you continue to learn instruments, and what are you presently working on learning?
Good question. I am, as much as I possibly can, learning how to do something new. I do pretty decent on piano. Voice is my primary strength. I went to school for songwriting and artist development, but I think I was more on the songwriting side of things. Piano, guitar, ukulele. I teach all these things to my students as well. But one thing I've been wanting to pick back up, I just started trying to teach myself how to play, is bass. And it's not an easy instrument. It's not a difficult one either, but it's one I feel like I could pick up pretty quickly, learning how to play guitar and stuff. And so that's definitely one that I'm wanting to work on, and definitely strengthening my skills in piano and guitar as well. But I definitely want to, get my chops, in good shape with the bass guitar for sure.
Yeah. Okay. On your baked goods, do you have a storefront, or are y'all just doing online sales?
As of right now, we're doing online sales. I would love to change that one day. We were working on that. Me and my ex-wife were kind of working on trying to get something together, and it just didn't necessarily work the way that I was wanting it to. So we are trying to take a step back and see if we can do things differently. And hopefully right now the online will suffice. And then eventually, if we can, build things up again, we'll definitely get something there. But obviously with teaching and with trying to do music and trying to do bakers, I mean, there's so many things. So,
and private lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah, private
so
everything.
Yeah. So I can't necessarily point to everything, 100%, but I can give enough time for all of those things and still thrive in it. It's just trying to figure out which one works best.
Freddie, how old are your girls?
My oldest is 10. My youngest is 6.
Okay. Well, trust me, man, it will not be long before they'll be old enough to run this business for you.
Yeah. I'd love to turn it over to them. It's named after them. So if they want it, they can have it. So I could just get the groundwork going for them,
And who actually does all the product making?
I
Is
do.
that okay? All right.
Yeah. Which
So
is
you're
funny.
teaching them, you're teaching them how to do that. So it won't be long at all before you can turn this over to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They can, they're starting to get a feel of it. Their mother is a pastry chef or was a pastry chef. She worked at a Ritz-Carlton. She is phenomenal. And that's where I learned from her. She's very great at what she does. And so I know if they just listen to her, they'll be good. They can listen to me and, they might be somewhat decent, but if they learn from her, they'll go to the next level.
Okay. Yeah, I know you're excited about that and looking forward to all that potential.
Absolutely.
Well, tell me about running. How long have you been involved in that, and how did you get started?
Yeah, this is like my favorite topic to talk about now because it has been consuming my life. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes not so much. But
Okay.
I've been running now since I want to say January 2023, so a little over a year, 2.5 years. And the reason why I got into running is because in January 2023, I was 350 pounds. I had went to the doctor the month before, and I was told, and in a nice way, that if I didn't start making changes health-wise, I would become diabetic. So I was pre-diabetic. I had a high A1C level. I decided to go to the doctor because I was looking at my youngest child one day and my eyes were so blurry I could barely see her. And I was like, okay, I know it's something to do with my health. I know it's because of my eating habits. I know it's because I stopped working out or, exercising and stuff. I just need to start making changes. So one day I got up and I started walking. And I tried to partner with a friend to do so. And he's like, yeah, let's go walk in the park. And he bailed on me. He was like, yeah, I forgot that, my kids are on spring break right now, so I can't do it. I was like, my kids are on spring break too. What are you talking about? I'm like, how did you not know that? But I made a decision that day. I was like, I can either get in my car and I can go home, or I can get out to this park and start walking. And I did. I started walking, and that's what started me on the walking journey. Same friend said, if I can start walking 15-minute miles, then I should start running. And that's what it was. I tried my hardest to get under 16 minutes. When I started seeing a 15 there, I was like, well, let me start running. I started a running program, and after the very first session, I quit. I said, nope, I'm done. This is too hard. I'm not doing it. And I quit for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I was at a park. I was like, let me just try it and see what happens. And I started, and that's where it took off. Since then, Daryl, I have run almost 65K races, which is 3.1 miles. I've run 5 10K races, which is 6.2 miles. I've run 4 half marathons, which is 13.1 miles. And March of this past year, I ran the Los Angeles Marathon, which is 26.2 miles. And it's just, yeah.
Whoa.
And, yeah. So it is something that's very important to me. And because it is that way, I started a run club out here called the Metro Mile Mafia. We started last July. A friend of mine, I asked him, hey, do you want to just come out and walk with me? And she said yes. And then eventually it changed from walking to running. And we went from 2 to 3 to 6 to we're roughly around 20 members of this group now. We do strength training together. We do running, days together. We do races together. They help me when it comes to putting together these races for We Run Gwinnett. We've built our own little family, and none of these things would happen if I did not bet on myself and get out of that car and started walking in the park that day. So that's how I got into running.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. And I hope you don't mind me asking, what is your weight today?
I don't mind that at all. I am proud to say that I am 235 pounds now. I've lost over 115 pounds.
I don't think anybody looking at you on this camera, or if we had a full view, would look at you and ever say, hey, just 3 years ago, this gentleman was 350 pounds.
Right.
That's unbelievable. It's amazing. You look fantastic. You look great, Freddie.
Thank you. And I look back and I look at pictures. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was just like, I went back and I just looked at your journey, and I was like, wow, I never knew that you were that. I'd never remember you being that big. And it's because most of what you see now is who I am now. But I had to get there somehow. I created my own logo, and just so and I would wear it on a shirt. Again, not necessarily about me specifically, but just my journey, how I went from being a class 3 obese runner to now I'm class 1 obese, 350 pounds to 235. And just my journey how I was like, I'm going to run and I'm going to go run a marathon. And so I wanted people to just follow along so they could see if I'm out here doing this stuff, you can do it too. But like you said, most people look at me now and like, you look great and stuff. I was like, I appreciate that. I'm flattered that you're saying that. And I'm not saying, oh, I was terrible back then, but I look back at where I was and where I am now. And I'm like, man, like, I mean, I want people to remember. So like on my logo, it has me at 350 pounds running, and people are like, you should change that. You're not that big. And I said, no, the reason being is because I will never forget where I was and why I needed to start making changes in my life. And I don't want people to forget that either. They can see me now and see that I'm becoming faster, stronger, and, finishing these races, winning races and stuff like that. But I want them to remember that I was not always this guy, and I had to start somewhere. And this is exactly where I started from.
I was going to ask you, where does Freddie draw inspiration from? And I think you just told us.
Yeah.
And when people say that to you, I'm sure that they don't know how much it means to you to hear that, because me looking at you, just like everybody else that meets you for the first time, we can't tell that journey. We can't tell where you came from, but and I think that, I just heard from you, that means so much. And that's kind of where you draw a lot of inspiration from.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's just my inspiration is from Freddie from 2 years ago. And it's just a matter of he didn't give up on me. He didn't know that we were going to hear. I never thought, I have been 260 pounds or more the majority of my adult life. I would say that I probably cracked into the pound range when I was about 18, 19 years old. Never been under 200 pounds since then. So I've always been, 200 pounds plus. But for the last 17 years or so of my life, I was somewhere between 260 and 350. And I never expected myself to get back down to where I am right now. And I also want to express, and I want people to know and understand as I share my journey, 235 does not equal healthy. Because I could be 300 pounds and still be healthy. It's what you do. It's the decisions that you make day in and day out. Now, granted, the less weight I have, the better. It makes me faster. Again, it gives me an opportunity to move, on the trails and stuff a lot faster. But if I'm not taking care of my body, I'm not healthy. So the biggest thing for me is that I make sure that I am, if I'm going to, if I'm going to eat, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to eat the right way. Now, I don't always succeed in that. I fail more times than not. But I have gotten better at eating fruits and eating vegetables and not eating as many calories. And if I am going to, drink something, I drink 0 calories, 0 sugar. And I know a lot of people are like, don't do that. For me, it works. For me, like a diet drink or something like that, it works. I understand the health risk behind it. You have to take some of those things with a grain of salt. But I am more disciplined now than I was when I was 350 pounds, where I'm not going to allow myself to go back the other way. But yeah, my biggest thing is, and I'm always trying to work to get, to be better, but I'm also not going to beat myself up if one day is worse than another, because tomorrow's a new day. I can always start over and make better choices tomorrow.
When did you incorporate, weight and strength training during your journey?
Oh, that was this year. I locked in with a guy. He's one of my closest friends now. His name is Don Wilson. He is the founder, owner, main trainer of Heart on Fire. And he is a part of the run group as well. Very fast guy. Don is probably one of the fastest people I know. He's won a couple of races that we've done together. He paced me to a personal record and then went back to complete his race and won his race at the same race. And it's just like, it was very insane. Like he saw me cross the finish line, turn around to, do the next lap of his 3-lap race, and won. And I'm just like, wow. And it's crazy. But he was like, this is the only way you're going to get better. Now, I had a run coach prior to him who said the same thing. You have to incorporate strength training. You have to lift. You have to eat better, but you also have to lift. You have to actually have, your body has to be strong. You have to do lunges. You have to do squats. You have to do these things because that's what's going to give you your speed. So we started doing that. And now Don, he hosts training sessions. It's early morning, but Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, he's hosting these sessions. And that's been the thing. We've been working on it all summer, and I've seen my time go down. I've set another personal record in a 5K. I've set a personal record for the first time under an hour in a 10K. To run 6.2 miles in under an hour is bizarre for me, because last year it took me almost an hour and a half, and I cut it by almost 30 minutes. And it's just, his method works.
Congratulations. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Is your weight training, do you focus more on lower body because of the running, or is it whole body? You're doing a lot of, chest, upper body, arms too.
Yeah, it's total body. A lot of it is lower body, a lot of it is core, and then we do have a lot of full body stuff, whatever. So it's not as much upper body. It's not focused on as much as the lower body and core stuff because you're running, you want to make sure all this stuff is locked in, that it's tight and everything like that. Now it does get work. He works everything and it's not
Okay.
easy. And that's a big reason why I continue to work with him because it's not easy. I'm not looking for easy because easy is how I got to 350 pounds. I did that pretty easy to get down to the 235. And I'm still like, my goal is I still have a lot of weight to lose. I'm going to enjoy the journey as I do it, but I still have goals and stuff. But yeah, we focus a lot on squats and coming from someone who has bad knees, and a lot of people say running is bad for knees and things like that. The training that we do has made my knees a lot stronger. So I'm able to endure a lot of this stuff a lot more. So it's, yeah, we focus a lot on the lower body stuff to definitely help with the strength, calf raises and stuff. And we're going uphill. Yeah, just different things. But yeah, lower body and core, I think is the primary two, and then upper body stuff as well. And, overall full body.
Tell me this, if you don't mind sharing. What do you do for your mind? Is that something you do while you're running? You're making yourself better mentally while you're running, or do you have some other regiment where you're putting your mind at ease or just resetting mentally?
Yeah. Running is a grind. Running is hard. It is not easy. I don't know too many people who say, I love running. I love getting up early in the morning, fueling myself with things and making sure I don't put myself in a position where I have to go use the bathroom or anything like that in the middle of a run, getting up and, doing odd hours of the morning and running, 10, 15 miles and stuff like that. I don't know many people who say they like that outside of Don. Don is he's a weird one there, but he loves doing stuff like that. But for me, the thing that kind of puts my mind or that has my mind in check is what I'm listening to. I'm making sure that if I'm listening to something, I'm listening to something that's going to drive me. It could be something that I need that extra push, something that's going to tell me, you need to get it together kind of thing. There's other things where it's inspirational stories and stuff. Every race, I'm listening to an audiobook. Most people listen to music. I listen to audiobooks. That's what gets me, in the goal. I listen to David Goggins and his story and, his runs and how he's pushing through all these races. Now, when I'm listening to him, he's running ultras. I'm running 5Ks. I'm only running 3-mile races and stuff, but I still listen to it because if he's able to push through it, he's another guy that, gained a lot of weight and he had to turn his life around, became a Navy SEAL. If he's able to do these things and push through and do, all this necessary stuff, then I can do it too. So I'll listen to that, or I'll listen to Julie Weiss. She's known as the marathon goddess. She ran 52 marathons in 52 weeks. In a full year, she ran 52 races. She had to take 2 weeks off to get surgery, came back and ran 3 marathons in 3 days. That's the intensity that she has. And I actually met her during the LA Marathon. That was a dream come true. She's an amazing person. I'll listen to her audiobook. I'm very big on audio stuff as opposed to reading because my attention span, my ADHD, just not allow me to focus long enough to do that.
Sure,
so audio, yeah.
sure.
So inside my ears, I'm making sure that whatever it is that I'm listening to, it's something I know that's going to drive me. And those are definitely those things. There's another one by Martinez Evans called Slow AF. And he is a larger guy who runs marathons, and he helps people who are more back of the pack, the slower runners, gives them tips on things that will work for them, whether it's clothing, fueling, just run walk methods, stuff like that. He's very encouraging because he's not a small guy, and he didn't start running marathons to lose weight. He started running marathons to get his health in check. So he's still a big guy, but he's still doing what many people are sitting here saying, I can never do that. And he's doing that and then some. I'll listen to any one of those 3 people as I'm running because they all have done and experienced things that I myself am working on and going through as well, knowing that it is possible. And so that's the thing in my head, knowing that something is possible. That's what I'm putting in my head and I'm running down the road.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Well, Freddie, thank you so much for joining me. Tell the folks, where all can we find you? You mentioned if you'll recap with your businesses and where people might be able to find you on socials or those type things.
Absolutely, yes. So right now, if you're wanting to find something musically, I don't have anything out just yet, but I am going to be working on that. So I'd say my main social media profile is Mills, MILLS, Runs Miles. So if you look me up on Instagram at Mills Runs Miles, you'll be able to see a lot of my journey there. We definitely do a lot of, chronicle the stuff that I'm doing, the training and things I'm doing as I prepare for another race. I am also, like I said, the founder of the Metro Mile Mafia. I'm one of the leaders of that group as well, Metro Mile Mafia. We are a run club in Gwinnett County, more in the Lawrenceville area, but we welcome everybody. Hopefully, maybe one day we start getting strong enough to where we start having some different, chapters in different parts of Gwinnett, so that it is not a difficult thing for those people to get out and run, because we just want you to get out there and run. We don't care about where you are. We got to open up a branch for you to do that, then so be it. So Metro Mafia is another thing. Again, I am the owner of the Harper Rose Sweet Shop, which is highly ironic now, seeing as how I'm a runner and I'm losing weight, but I still do desserts and make money somehow, right? So Harper Rose Sweet Shop, again, named after my two beautiful girls. We do homemade gourmet sweets and treats. So definitely look us up. That is also on Instagram. It is HR Sweet Shop is how you can find us on Instagram. And then I am the owner of the Forte Music Academy, Forte Music Academy. I teach, like I said, piano, voice, ukulele, guitar, and I am starting to work with adults. I've been working with kids primarily because I am a general music teacher, elementary age, but I am willing to help anybody get started on the basics of stuff because, I truly believe that if you want to learn, I will do everything in my power to help you get to the next level, whatever that may be. So those are ways that you can find me. And again, one more thing. I am the director, founder of the We Run Gwinnett race series. We have done 3 races so far. Our next race is Sunday, October 12th. That is the Community Run 5K. That will be at Bay Creek Park in Loganville. We have a Thanksgiving race coming up in November called the Angry Bird Turkey Run. That will be in Decula at Rabbit Hill Park. And our championship for the We Run Gwinnett race series is called the Jingle all the way to a 5K. And that is at Triple Mill Park in Lawrenceville. That will be in December 14th. So hopefully you can look us up. The Instagram link on that one is WRG Races. So WRGRACES. You look us up there. We Run Gwinnett race series. We'd love to have you. We're still looking for participants for this next race. It's about I'm going to say like 3-4 weeks away. So yeah, definitely sign up, and we'd love to have you at the next race.
Freddie, you're so positive. It's contagious. You're an inspiration. And I thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Crashes, Claims, and Clarity. God bless you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to Crashes, Claims, and Clarity with attorney Daryl Burrow, founder of Burrow & Associates and a trusted advocate for over 30 years. If today's episode helped bring clarity or hope after an accident, be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. To connect with Daryl or learn more, visit legalatlanta.com. Join us next week for another honest, faith-centered conversation about recovery, rights, and moving forward after injury.